Hey everybody, it's Chase with AV Pop Culture again, and today I am back with another list of 10 of the most outrageous, most over-the-top, most ridiculous, most fun, and the absolute most raunchy comedies of the 1990s that you might have missed. So pop that tape in, I got you, let's go do this. All right, so now we are continuing this series with the 1990s. Now, I was a teenager, well into my teens in the 90s, graduated it was in high school, the start of the 90s, all that stuff. So I really remember these very, very well. And a lot of these are the kind of the ones that just fly under the radar. So we're not looking for the headliners in this list. So remember that. We're looking for some that are good, fun, maybe some straight to video rental type stuff in the 1990s, some late night Skinamax, HBO, that kind of stuff that maybe you snuck and watched and didn't get all the headlines, not huge theatrical releases. So if you're looking for the big time ones, that's not this list. We'll get around the lists like that, but this is for the ones that kind of fall through the cracks, that you snuck downstairs, watched when you weren't supposed to, that kind of thing. Maybe you had an old beat-up VHS. Maybe you were fortunate enough to have Cinemax and you watched these late night. That's the kind of stuff that we're talking about here. So we're going to jump right into the list. I have 10. This time I actually have one honorable mention because I just couldn't leave it off the list. But coming in at number 10 is Beach Babes from Beyond. Yeah, it is from 1993, and one of the calling cards of this movie is how it has some famous adjacent people in it. And what I mean is you have Joe Estevez starring in this movie. That's Martin Sheen's brother. You have Patrick Swayze's brother in this, Don Swayze. You have Jackie Stallone, the mother of Sylvester Stallone. You have Joey Travolta in this movie, the brother of John Travolta. So it's kind of like the Temu version of all these people. And that is just part of the shtick. It also stars Linnea Quigley, Scream Queen, and kind of a staple of movies like this. And so that kind of sets you up. Now let me take you through the story real quick. It is basically 3 intergalactic alien hot babes, and one of them steals her father's T-Bird style spaceship. Yes, that's right. Steals his T-Bird style spaceship. They're going to do some planet hopping, and they run out of gas on planet Earth. They are stuck here right in the middle of basically a bikini summer. You're going to get beach culture all over the place, late 80s, early 90s feeling beach culture. And they start to have some very, very close encounters with some of the guys here on Earth, and they kind of get connected to them because of that. And Joe Estevez plays one of their uncles who's about to lose his beachside home and all of this. So the girls decide they're going to help by basically designing bikinis, entering a bikini contest. That's what your setup is for this movie. I think it's something like they're tan, they're alien, they're hot, whatever is like the tagline. You know what you're getting into with this. It's fun. It's kind of a spoof, but it has some very intense like TNA in it and some sex scenes. There's actually an R-rated version of this, and then there's more of an uncensored version that is much, much more like gratuitous kind of and shows a lot more. So it just depends on the version that you get. Absolutely ridiculous. These women will literally stop at nothing to win this competition. It's a lot of fun. You're going to get beach vibes, all that kind of stuff. Beach Babes from Beyond from 1993 comes in on our list at number 10. Now, at number 9 on our list stars a couple of bigger names, and you're probably going to recognize them. You may recognize this movie a little more, even though it was a straight to video. That's why it's a little further down on the list. But I'm talking about 1993's Just One of the Girls. Now, this movie stars Corey Haim, who was big in the 80s and 90s. It stars Nicole Eggert, also very big back then. And Corey Haim plays Chris. He's this kid that's bullied by these kids, this gang of kids from another school, and he can kind of avoid them until now he gets transferred. He has to go to their school. So in order to avoid, being bullied, he decides he's going to dress up and pretend that he is a girl to avoid them. All of that might work, except for he kind of gets stuck in this disguise because he has to introduce himself in class as a girl. And this leads to a lot of funny moments because he also is hiding all of this from his parents. So you've got this flip-flop going back and forth throughout the movie. Of course, there's girls' locker room scenes, and this is one that has a couple of different versions. There's one scene where it's much more toned down, one version of that scene, and then there's another version of that scene that is very, very uncensored. And all of this is fun and ridiculousness. It's a play on the movie Just One of the Guys, which is basically a situation somewhat in reverse. But in this movie, it's all going along until he falls in love with Nicole Eggert's character, beautiful girl, and he can't tell her. He's permanently friend-zoned, but he is permanently friend-zoned as a girl who she's not attracted to. And so that makes it even worse because he can't tell her or it'll blow his cover. So that is your premise. It's fun. It's ridiculous. It's a Corey movie. A lot of you maybe have seen it because of that, but this is one that I believe went straight to video, so you might have missed it. It's fun. Definitely has the raunch factor, all that kind of stuff. Check out Just One of the Girls from 1993. It comes in at number 9 on this list. All right, at number 8 on the list is another one. One good Corey deserves another good Corey. I think this is also a straight-to-video movie. You had a lot of those back in the 80s, early 90s. I am talking about 1995's South Beach Academy. This one's so raunchy that one of the original poster you can't really find anymore. The original movie poster that had some very, very revealing thong G-string bikini bottoms on the front of it. But this stars Corey Feldman. You're also going to get Grandpa Munster in here, Al Lewis, and he is playing a big role in this film, so that's kind of funny to see. And the film posits the question, what do you do if the future of your school, your family, and your fortune all rest on the performance of an all-girls female volleyball team? Yes, that's it. And so you're going to get a lot of beach volleyball, which I love playing. I love watching. I love women's beach volleyball, watching that. Why wouldn't I? But I actually love playing volleyball on the beach. That whole beach vibe growing up, this thing is just has those beach vibes in spades. You have tons of bikini-clad women everywhere throughout this film. Dudes with their shirt off and stuff like that, if you're into that. Lots of fun, lots of hijinks that surround that. I think I read that there's actually at minimum 100 on-screen occurrences of topless female nudity in this. There's also some exotic dancers in a scene at a strip club that gets some other things going on for you to see. It's a fun movie. You can't take it too seriously. You're going to get your bikini vibes. You're going to get your exotic dancers. You're going to get your toplessness. You're going to get your volleyball. You're going to get your sun, sand, late 80s carried into the 90s vibes. It's all here. South Beach Academy, of course, starring another Corey. Corey Feldman comes in at number 8 on our list. All right, coming in at number 7 on the list is one that just squeaks into the 90s, and I stretch it for that. This movie was actually released at the theaters for a small theatrical run, and the whole shtick, the whole thing about it was go celebrate New Year's, kind of, because it came out late. It had late showings on December 31st, 1989. But for all intents and purposes, it's a 1990s movie. I am talking about 1990s Getting Lucky. And this movie is absolutely ridiculous. I don't even, it's a classic story of the nerd who wants to save the world, do all these good things, but he also really, really would like to get with and date the hottest cheerleader in school, because of course he would. And that actually all becomes possible when he is out recycling, saving the world, and finds a drunk leprechaun in a bottle that he was going to recycle. And I think it's Lepke is the leprechaun. And he is going to grant him wishes like a genie. I mean, I don't know how we got from we got genie in a bottle. We've literally got leprechaun in a bottle. But, you know, he's drunk, he's goofy, he's a crazy leprechaun. He screws up a lot of these wishes. He promptly messes those up. And, you know, is the guy going to get the girl? Are they going to open their clinic where he can, you know, help save the world? All this, they kind of try to throw that stuff in there underneath the raunchy sex comedy with a drunk leprechaun. That's what you know about what you're getting into in this. So Getting Lucky from 1989, maybe New Year's Eve, you know, on 1989 in 1990. I'm calling it 1990. I'm calling it number 7 on our list, Getting Lucky. Okay, at number 6 on our list is a sequel of a movie that was actually on my 70s version of this list, and I can link that here. I've done the 70s and 80s, so of course we're doing 90s. But this one had a long-awaited sequel for some. I'm talking about 1990's Flesh Gordon Meets the Cosmic Cheerleaders. That's the full title. It's an NC-17 to X-rated movie. It's officially NC-17. I think maybe it toes that line pretty good. And the newly famous Flesh Gordon from his original exploits in 1974, I think it was, is abducted by space cheerleaders. He is stranded alongside his beautiful girlfriend and 2 others, including a doctor with a very hilarious and, I guess, unfortunate name that I'm not even sure I can say on here. They must fight off sinister enemies and figure out the mystery behind what is causing the men on this planet, what are causing the men to be unable to perform their sexual duties. There is a rash of performance problems, let's just say that, and maybe there is something sinister and evil behind it, and only Flesh Gordon can stop it. It's crazy. It's great. These movies are hard for me to talk about because I know how ridiculous and funny they are. So you can't go into these serious. These are throw popcorn at the movie, laugh, just ridiculous fun here. You got all the sci-fi elements, which they do go into, like good costuming and fun, ridiculous type costuming, but they're going to put stop motion into this stuff. It's just absolute craziness, not to be taken seriously, but to have a hell of a good time with. So for that reason, Flesh Gordon meets the Cosmic Cheerleaders. It comes in at number 6 on this list. It's so hard to keep a straight face when talking about those movies. I almost lose my shit every time. I apologize, you guys. But coming in at number 5, moving up to number 5 on the list, we're cracking into the top 5 now, is one that maybe you could take a little more serious if it didn't start out with an adult female sleepover. I'm talking about 1995's Live Nude Girls. This stars Kim Cattrall and Dana Delaney, and both of those actresses are have made a career doing kind of saucy movies. This one is surprisingly steamy. The whole movie is about an adult sleepover. Like I mentioned, they're having a slumber party, and these women are talking about sex. And when they're talking about it, whether it's their fantasies, the things they wish they had done, the things they have done, the things they wish they haven't done, all this stuff, very frank and graphic sort of dialogue and discussion in here. As they're talking about these things at their party, we see them kind of being reenacted live action as they're remembering or telling these stories. So you get their fantasies, you get things that did happen, things they want to happen, all that kind of stuff. And then it cuts back to them at their slumber party. They're drinking, having a good time. They even go skinny dipping at one point. So you get this kind of all over the place stuff. You get everything from spankings to, I can't. But they are talking about it in a very fun, ridiculous, and a matter-of-fact sort of way. It's adult, like late 30s women having a slumber party talking about all this stuff. That's what you're getting in for with this movie. It's very well done, though, and the actresses in it are really good. You're going to see a lot of other recognizable faces. It's one that I don't hear people talk about a lot, especially considering it has Kim Cattrall and Dana Delaney kind of headlining it, and they have done a lot of things in their career, but this one just kind of gets missed a little bit. But live, I think, as a matter of fact, it only made $23,000 at the movie theater for its limited run. But live nude girls, it's a lot of fun. Check it out. It's, guys, maybe it's a little bit of a chick flick that you can get behind. It comes in at number 5 on this list. All right, at number 4 on the list, we might as well go Dana Delaney again. I told you that she is kind of notorious. Her and Kim Cattrall have done a lot of movies in this kind of genre throughout their career. But this one is 1994's Exit to Eden. Now, Exit to Eden has a big cast. Not only does it have Dana Delaney, it stars Dan Aykroyd, Rosie O'Donnell, Hector Elizondo, and I hope I say his name. I always kind of mispronounce his name. But this one is directed by Gary Marshall. So, this is a Gary Marshall film, and it is raunchy turned up to 11. I mean, it was shocking. You even have John Schneider in this movie. I think he's uncredited, but he has a very steamy, he's part of a very steamy flashback kind of dominating scene with Dana Delaney when he is a college professor. Very kind of like taboo stuff told in a very sexy way. But the main story here is Elliot is a photographer who, has a very high libido, and he's taking all these pictures, and he inadvertently snaps some pictures of diamond smugglers doing bad things. And he doesn't even know it. He hasn't developed the film. He is on his way to vacation at this hedonistic island resort where all of your sexual fantasies can be played out and come true. And the criminals and 2 detectives are following him to the island. So they are hot on his case. The criminals are trying to get the film and maybe rub him out in not the good way because of what he's seen. And then you have Rosie O'Donnell and Dan Aykroyd are playing the detectives who have to go undercover on this island. And this movie, if you're looking for nudity, sexual situations, kind of fantasies, any kind of fetishes or kink, it's probably in this movie, which is just something that you're surprised to see from a film that has such a big cast, had a big theatrical run, has a big director, producer behind it, all that stuff. But it is in here, and it has some very funny moments. Dan Aykroyd in front of a gong. That is hilarious. Dan Aykroyd, I absolutely love in this movie. It has everything you want. Laughs, TNA, all of that. It's in here. Exit to Eden comes in at number 4 on our list. Now we're finally made it to the top 3. And coming in at number 3 is one that just got announced to have a brand new restoration and release by MVD Rewind Collection. I'm talking about 1992's Bikini Car Wash Company. Now, this is one of those old late night cable kind of movies that are fun, ridiculous, Skinamax, your old hell yeah, red-blooded American teen or grown man that are like just watching something ridiculous. That is this movie. It has the simplest plot ever. Some beautiful women decide to help out a local car wash and save it and raise money. And the best way they can do that is to work this car wash in tiny bikinis. That's it. And this works out. Cars line up for miles. Hijinks ensues. Dancing, music, cool cars, bikinis, car wash, all of that. But the authorities aren't necessarily too happy with how they are doing this business. And that is basically your plot. That's it. That's the whole movie. You're not looking for a great movie here. You're looking for a fun, good time. Now, this one almost reads more 80s than it does 90s. Came out in early 92, so it could have been filmed in 91, maybe even a little earlier, depending on how long it took them to edit it and get everything done. So it definitely has that 80s flavor and feel to it, even with some of the bikinis. But I often say that the 80s kind of carried into about 94, 95 before the 90s really got their own identity. And that's why that kind of carries on. But this movie is fun, ridiculous. It's a turn your brain off, raunchy, TNA style comedy, harmless. You can tell everyone is having a good time filming the movie. That comes through. It makes you feel that. That makes it fun, and I'm glad to see it getting a new release because a lot of these movies are hard to find on physical media. They were gotten by Code Red and Scorpion, and like Code Red, they're not around anymore. The owner of Code Red passed away a few years ago, unfortunately, and a lot of these I've checked myself on the rights to these type of movies like this, the Cheerleaders from the 70s, some of the other films on my list that I've done, and people don't even know who owned the rights to them anymore. So it's going to be harder to save them and restore them because you got to find somebody who owns them who can give you the authority to, restore and release these movies, which I would like to do. But for right now, you got to find them where you can. A lot of these you might find on Tubi. They might be very bad quality. They might be the edited version, or you can hunt down some out of print physical media versions. That's what I'm on the case to do. So it's nice to see movies like Bikini Car Wash getting a full restoration and treatment and put on Blu-ray by companies like MVD. So Bikini Car Wash Company from 1992 comes in on our list at number 3. Now, coming in at number 2 on the list is one that, I know this movie so well that I was afraid to put it on this list initially because I thought other people probably know it as well as I do, but it just turns out that I have watched a lot of movies in my life, and I am talking about 1991's Ski School. Now, I love beach comedies. I love beach atmosphere and stuff from like the 70s, 80s, 90s. I love the beach culture, but I also love a good ski resort, a type of movie. Those are very fun too. That is what Ski School is. It is the hottest action on the slopes. It stars Dean Cameron, who made a lot of appearances in movies like this. Matter of fact, he might be in another film on this list. But it's a pretty simple plot as well. You have rival groups of ski school, rival groups in this ski school. You have the rich group that takes it very seriously. They're very stuck up. It was always like the squares versus the cool people back in the day. So they're rich. They take all of this very, very seriously. And the other group that, of course, has Dean Cameron, they are party animals. They can ski. They know what they're doing. They can instruct people, all that. but they want to have a good time, and that's what they're about. And of course, these two groups butt heads throughout the movie. Your squares and your party animals, and it's all at a beautiful, you've got the ski background, all of that. Of course, it has some of your TNA in there. It's always funny to see people have very few clothes on when it's cold outside and the snow and all that kind of stuff. So you're going to get all of that, and you are going to get just a good time. Maybe it's a little bit lighter on some of the TNA as when compared to like Bikini Car Wash Company or even Exit to Eden, but it makes up for it in just a damn good time. Tons of rewatchability, fun movies from back in the day. That is what Ski School is. I highly recommend watching this one. It is a lot of fun. It comes in on our list at number 2. Now, before we get to number 1 on the list, I have one honorable mention. I just couldn't squeeze it out of here. I went back and forth because it's a horror comedy. It's more of a comedy with some horror elements, but it is definitely a raunchy sex comedy from the 1990s. And I have this cool 4K from Vinegar Syndrome. I am talking about The Invisible Maniac. This movie is fun. I couldn't leave it off. It's from 1990, so it fits that bill. But basically what you have in this movie is a crazy and horny, depraved scientist who comes up with a way to turn himself invisible. And what does he do with that? Of course, he does anything that any horny, sex-minded scientist would do if he turned himself invisible. He gets a job teaching summer school to a bunch of seniors in high school and spends a lot of time spying in the locker room on the ladies and all of that stuff, basically using his invisibility to his advantage to very funny concepts and situations. But it does have horror elements because he is jealous, it kind of messes with his mind, and he's crazy. So it leads to some very funny kills as well. It's a lot of fun. I wanted to put it on here as an honorable mention. It doesn't quite fit the bill necessarily. It's just a pure comedy, but it is funny and a hell of a good time. I had way more fun with it than I thought. Great 4K. I love supporting physical media. That is my passion. So I had to put it on here. Invisible Maniac from 1990. Check it out as an honorable mention. All right, and now we have number 1. Number 1 on this list is maybe lighter on some of the sex and nudity, although it does have it. There are 2 cuts of this movie. So if you want the one that really checks off the raunchy comedy, make sure you get the R-rated version of this. But there is a PG-13 version that was recut when PG-13 became a thing. I'm talking about 1992's Miracle Beach. This movie's fun. It stars Dean Cameron from Ski School, and it even stars Pat Morita, Mr. Miyagi himself. But Amy Deloze, she actually steals the show in this as a genie. So Dean Cameron is the lead. He plays kind of a hapless, hopeless guy. He wants to find a girl. He wants to be successful, all this. He has his sights on a girl that is way above his station in so many ways. And then he literally finds a genie in the bottle. There's two kind of wish fulfillment movies like this on this list. This one actually uses a genie. And Jeannie, the lead actress, Jeannie plays Jeannie, she pops out to grant him all of his wishes, and he gets money, success, cool house, cool car, and even the ability to impress the girl that he has been pining away for, that he thinks all this stuff will bring him happiness if he just gets her and he gets all this stuff. But as he gets closer to Jeannie throughout the movie, he is going to find that maybe he's looking for happiness in the wrong places. So it has a little bit of a rom-com element, but I'm going to tell you, if you get the R-rated version, there's plenty of TNA in this movie. You've got lots of beach culture again. You've got topless, on the beach, in the water, jet skiing, all kinds of stuff like that. So you're going to get your fill of that. You're going to get some, sex scenes in this. If you get the PG-13 version, That's all going to be very cut down and edited out. I don't recommend that. I recommend the movie as it was intended to be, because I don't like censorship at all. And it just it makes it more of this style of comedy instead of trying to change it to something else. I think it has a lot of heart to it behind everything, and that gives it a ton of rewatchability. And I'm telling you, Amy, who is the lead actress, she absolutely steals the show. She is awesome to watch. She's beautiful, number one, but she has just got so much charisma. I think she married like kind of a famous actor and stuntman and then kind of quit doing stuff. That's unfortunate because she leaps off the camera to me in this movie. She is so much fun. Tons of rewatchability. You've got Mr. Miyagi, Pat Morita, being her kind of advisor, teaching her the way. So that's a very comfortable role for him and a lot of fun. I really enjoy this movie. High recommend, particularly the R-rated version if you can grab it. So Miracle Beach from 1992 comes in at number 1 on our list. And that is our list of 10. Actually got a bonus, got 11 on here of the most outrageous, over-the-top, raunchy sex comedies from the 1990s that maybe were a little overlooked. Maybe you missed these. But if you haven't, if you saw them all, let me know. Let me know if there's any of these that you missed. I'm going to probably do one more of these to continue this series into the 2000s. And we'll kind of maybe move off of it for a while. Got a bunch of other list recommendations for you guys. But I have enough of these to do multiple lists from every decade. So if you guys are interested in seeing more of that, let me know. Let me know what other kind of list that you would like to see, because I have a lot planned, but I love hearing from you. And of course, we do everything here. List, recommendations. If this is your first time here, we do those, but we do physical media news. I do 4K movie reviews. I do all that kind of stuff because I am a working filmmaker. I have been for a couple of decades, and I love everything about movies, their place in pop culture, nostalgia, all that stuff. So if you've been looking for an AI style fast list that without a lot of thought and just a bunch of clips and without any context from someone who really loved and grew up with all these movies and watched them again and again, that's not what we do here. We add a lot. We hang out here to discuss movies and everything about them that makes them so great. If that's something that you're into, please like and subscribe. It helps out the channel. If you want to help support the channel, you can join at my Patreon link in the description or right here on YouTube. A couple dollars a month. Get your name and lights on every single video, behind the scenes looks at my filmmaking, special members only videos, and so much more. If you like the shirt that I'm wearing until I get my shop up, you have to message me at avawithchase@gmail.com, and we'll hook you up the old-fashioned way with the shirts. I got about 6 or 7 designs that first came off the press here, and we'll try to get those out to you. But I appreciate everything so much. Hang out, spread the pop culture word. I love you all so much for it. And until next time, be kind, rewind like always. This is Chase with AV Pop Culture, and I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.
I know.